They are subsistence farmers, hill farmers. The lad comes from a small homestead. Around it, there's some fields which his father owns. They work those fields and attempt to produce sufficient food to feed themselves for the year. Now, if you take a boy out of that family, as it were, you give them a double plus. It means there's one less person to feed, and also that person is in a position to send money home to contribute towards the family.
These economic facts of life have made soldiering a noble and rewarding profession for generations of Nepalese men wishing to raise their standard of living and opportunities as Gurkhas.
I was in Gurkha soldier for 21 years.
Throughout the year, retired Gurkhas called Gulliwalas regularly visit the mountain villages, scouting and screening candidates for yearly recruiting tests called hill selection. Most of the recruits come from Gurkha families like Jaskaji Gurung's, himself a former Gurkha, with one son already serving in the Indian Army, and now hoping his youngest son, Golman, will be selected by the British.
I want to become a Gurkha because they're going to army, then they earn money, you know, and they buy some land, and they help their father, mother. So I also think about that, you know.
A village boy's departure to join the Gurkhas is as important a passage in life as a wedding or funeral. If Naura Yan Gurung is accepted, he will not see his mother or family again for at least 3 years, at his first leave. If he fails the tests, his disappointment and embarrassment will be so great he might never come home again. Golman and Naura are from the same village and are joining together. Since they were first selected by their local Gulliwala, they've trained together for 6 months for the demanding physical tests that will determine their potential as infantry soldiers and their chances for a new life as Gurkhas. The local hill selection tests take place but once a year and are by invitation only. Only 1 in 20 will be selected for the final testing at the British camp in Pokhara.
They're being trained for nearly a year to get through this test, and this stage here all the friends and the parents and the villagers are watching for them. If they fail any one part of the test, we just throw him out. That means they have lost their face, and some of them even they don't go back to their home and they try to disappear from here.
Each candidate is marked with an identifying chest number to eliminate any favoritism. The recruits must be at least 17 years old, 5 foot 3 inches tall, and meet other minimum physical requirements. The recruits are closely checked for scars, bad teeth, flat feet, any abnormalities that might lead to future medical problems. Golman and Naura scouted previous hill selection tests and trained together to pass this one. Golman was worried about his upper body strength and doing at least 12 chin-ups, while Naura practiced sit-ups 3 times a day to make sure he could do at least the required 35 on an incline in 2 minutes. The preparation paid off for Golman and Naura. They were 2 of the 4 chosen from this hill selection to head down to the British camp in Pokhara for more tests, evaluations, and competition. Some of the rejected have been known to have scraped the numbers off their chests with sand and walked days to find another hill selection test.
As I call out the numbers and come in with those who've passed, leaving behind those who've failed, my thoughts, I'm afraid, are always with those who've failed.
The pace and intensity of the selection process picks up at the British camp in Pokhara, where only the finalists from the hill selection tests can compete. Here, a simple running race becomes a climactic moment in a young man's life. Most are from the hill country and have never run on flat ground before, let alone with running shoes. The last event is the mother of all military fitness tests. Each man must climb 4 miles up a 4,000-foot mountain, carrying 70 pounds of rocks. The weight equals the equipment they must be able to carry as an infantry soldier in combat. Instead of a modern backpack, they use the bamboo baskets called dokos, which many have strapped across their foreheads and on their backs since they were children. Despite the load, heat, and altitude, these Gurkha hopefuls turned the doko carry into a high-stakes race and run for their lives. Those finally selected to be Gurkhas are anything but guns for hire or mercenaries without cause or allegiance. In a simple but profound ceremony, these Nepalese boys first swear their absolute allegiance to the crown while touching the British Union Jack. They sign a paper promising to serve the British Army for at least 15 years at a basic pay rate of about $300 a month. True to the Gurkha tradition, they will send most of the money home and stay in the British Army on an average of 22 years.